And now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
So mark it on your calendars, folks. May 19th, very, very important election in the greater Hazleton area, extremely important. One area that we should be looking at is the school board. This new school board, I say new because there's 5 people will be elected. That can change the entire course of what direction the Hazleton area school district will be going into. Today, we're going to talk to 2 candidates that are running for school board, Vinnie Zola and Bob Fiume. They're running on both tickets. Remember, I've said many times, folks, I don't care if they're Democrats, Republicans, I don't care how popular a person is, I don't care what the situation is. Please look at qualifications. Don't let anyone tell you who to vote for. Look who's voting, because we're in a mess today in the country because we have people who are just very popular. They know nothing about what they're doing, but they're popular. So today, we're going to learn about 2 individuals. They're going to tell you about their background and what they want to do. Then you decide. Vinnie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Sam.
And Bob, nice to have you on the show. Haven't seen you in a while, Vinnie, but you look great, and so Bobby looks good. Okay, so you guys have challenges here, okay? 2 challenges. Let me ask you, Vinnie, of course, zillions of people know the both of you, but for the sake of people who are looking at who they're going to vote for and why, reasons why, give me a little bit about yourself, Vinnie.
Okay. Sam, I think at this stage, I'm uniquely qualified for the position of school board. I have background in law enforcement, in school security, school administration. I have a background in the military. I'm a veteran of the Army. I spent 3 years in the military as a military policeman and a paratrooper. And I think over life's experience, I'm 58 now, and you pick up a lot of experience in life, and I'm going to bring that with me if I'm elected to the school board.
So your aspect is, you know, and when we talk about student safety, you're a pro at that, but your aspect is coming in from the internal operations, you've been there,
yes,
plus the experience you have. Bob, what about your background?
Well, Sam, I'm the executive director of the County of Lackawanna Transit System. I've been there for about 6.5 years, and in that position, I'm responsible for approximately 120 employees. I have 2 unions, a multi-million-dollar budget. Prior to that, I was executive director of Hazleton Public Transit for 8.5 years during the Barletta administration. My background in education, I have a degree in business administration from the Pennsylvania State University, and I was on council in West Hazleton about 12 years ago.
Now, recently you just were elected to a statewide position, correct?
Yes, the Pennsylvania Public Transportation Association, which encompasses over 67 transit agencies throughout the state of Pennsylvania. I've been on the board of directors there, and I've been elected chairman for the upcoming year of that association.
Very prestigious position, okay. So Bob, let me ask you this. We always welcome people who have qualifications coming on for whatever position. Why, you know, do you want to take the challenges, and we talk about some of these challenges, there's some serious challenges, but why do you want to take this challenge on to become a school board member?
Well, Sam, I'm a lifelong resident of the area, and I see that there are problems in the school district, and I can correct those problems, and I think I can be an asset to the board. And you know, we have a lot of work to do. There are good things going on, but there's a lot going on. I mean, I think we have very qualified and good teachers, but I think that they need some leadership, and we need to supply them with the tools necessary to provide a quality education to the students. And I think that we need to build our educational system, and one way to do that is to provide these teachers with those tools, whether it be books they need, visual aids, help in the classroom. And by strengthening the educational system in the school district, we can enable students to reach their potential. And I think that's where we have to key on. And we have to remember that that's why we're here, to educate children. And by providing this quality education, it has to be affordable also. It has to be affordable to the taxpayers.
Vinnie.
Yes.
I am asking you the same question. You know, you have a lot on your plate. You're retired. I hate you for that. But God bless you. You know, you're in good health. Thank the good Lord.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Why do you want to accept this challenge?
I think right now we need some direction and leadership in the school district. I'm a very proactive person. I believe in being proactive and not reactive. When I was hired by the district some 20 years ago and put in charge of security, we started from the bottom up. We had to build a security program, and really we were kind of first in all of northeastern Pennsylvania and a lot of the country.
Yeah.
And we built a program that was successful. It was within budget. And it provided protection for our students and our staff to work in, and I'm very proud of that. I was able to. I was asked by the Department of Education to work on a number of projects with the Department of Education dealing with school security assessments, bomb threat assessments. So I'm able to bring to the board that experience so that when someone is talking to us about the needs of security in the district, I know that.
You wrote the book.
Exactly.
So, from an internal sense, when you were there, okay, you dealt with the school board, and I don't care who they were, but what did you see constructively, okay, not personally, okay,
Right.
because that's some of the problems that we have. People, I don't like him because his mother did that, his sister did all kind of nonsense. Internally, you saw how the board did certain things, and what did you see? I mean, how involved were they, and how did they cooperate with you? Because, you know, anyone who's successful, they surround themselves with successful people who know more than what they do in certain areas, okay?
You would hope that that's what would happen, but it didn't always happen that way. I found that there were a lot of great school directors while I was there for 20 years, but there were a lot that wanted to micromanage, and I don't believe in micromanaging. No. I mean, we're paying some very large salaries to administrators. They should run the district according to their skills, and if they don't, then we hold them accountable. And I find that to be a problem throughout. When a school director tries to second guess someone who's an expert in their field, whether it be business, security, education, the mistakes are made.
And you know, you're so right, Bob. You have that in your position, okay? Who is your boss? The Lackawanna?
I have a board of directors. We're an authority.
Okay. So they've set directions. They set their policies, okay? So they hire Bob Fiume and say, Bob, this is, you know, you come in with all these and say, well, you have all the qualifications. Now, Bob, this is what we want to accomplish in Lackawanna County in the buses, okay? This is our policy.
Correct.
Now it's up to you to do the policy. But if I'm going to call you every day and tell you don't do this and don't do that, as Vinnie's very aware, that's the problem we have. So, well, how would you react to that?
Well, exactly, that's the problem. If you're telling me to enforce these policies and manage your way, you should stay out of that. And that's what the board should stay out. They should let the experts in those areas, the administrators and the teachers, do their jobs. And provide, this way the educational system can be built and the potential for children to reach their potential, whether it be college or the military or trade school or labor, can be achieved. And
okay. So staying on that same vein, okay, when you're talking about, you know, setting policies, because, you know, you lived it as an employee. Now you know, if you become a school board member, you know what not to do, okay? Exactly. So in staying in setting policies, okay, safety policy, and I'm not, the truth is the matter, you wrote the book. I mean, so no one's going to come in and fool you about what safety, you know, is involved. Another important thing that we discussed is communication, okay? So let's talk about communication, all right? We'll start with you, Vinnie. You know, what's your opinion about this communication and how far do we go?
Well, I'll tell you, I think there's a lack of communication between the school district itself and the public, the taxpayers, the press. I think a lot of times, you know, what I observed, they don't want the school district to look bad, or they don't want certain administrators to look bad, so they kind of keep things quiet or they try to silence things. And I think that builds a suspicion level then between the public and the school district. So I think we need to tear down that wall. We need to open communications up. We need to be able to communicate what's going on in the schools to the parents and the taxpayers and within the school district. I mean, right between administrators and employees and all, open up the lines of communication. I personally want to hear what employees have to say and what they think and what parents and taxpayers have to say so that we can make policies on those lines.
To address those areas.
Exactly.
So Bob, in your area, okay, as far as communication, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I feel the same as far as transparency. There has to be communication between the school district itself, the board, the staff, the teachers, and all the taxpayers, and communication between the school district administration and the parents, definitely.
I get criticized from some people. I think we have probably in the state of Pennsylvania top-notch teachers who are teaching in our system. Okay, I've always been supportive of them because people do not know what they go through. Okay, now there are a few of them that are the bad apples, but we cannot judge 99% of our teachers and administrators based on a couple bad apples. And they have a challenge today. They have some serious challenges. How, you alluded to this before, I'll start with you, Vinnie, how could we relieve them of their frustrations? Because class sizes, for example, number one, putting high learner students in with low learners, okay, conflicts, okay, and then being told, okay, what they have to do. I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
Again, I think open up the lines of communication between teachers and administrators and board members. They need to tell us what they need. If you're not in that classroom to see on a daily basis what their challenges are, maybe it's ESL students, maybe it's slow learners, whatever the case may be, maybe it's lack of materials, but we need to know what they need so that we can look at the budget and say, okay, what is more important? You know, do we need to spend $1 million repointing brick on a building at this point, or do we need to invest that money maybe in some type of alternative education programs? Alternative education programs not dealing strictly with students that are troublesome in a classroom, but maybe have some learning abilities that need to be addressed.
And Bob, you brought a good point up as being fair for both sides, right? As far as the classes are concerned.
Sure, exactly. When you have students in the class, maybe the slower learners or whatever that issue may be, it's not only hurting them because they're not getting the attention they need, but it's also holding back those who are excelling. So it's a two-way street. It's not fair to either side, either one. So that's what we need to address.
You know, Vinnie and Bob, you brought some, before we started the show, you brought some interesting things up. Input. What better, and you hit the nail right on the head, what better way do you know what these teachers are doing, because they see it every day. So you're getting input from them. This is where they're telling you, here's our problem. We have no books. Right. You know, we have trouble. Okay, so then as a board, listening to this input that you're getting from your own teachers and administrators, okay, then you guys could set your policies, correct?
Correct.
Absolutely.
They're not going. When it comes to safety, they're not going to fool you because you wrote the book. Okay. When it comes to administrators and dealing with people, you deal with, now you're chairman in the state of Pennsylvania of millions of dollars that you're involved with. You know, that's the experience that you're bringing to the table. Am I correct? Folks, I'm talking to Vinnie Zola and Bob Fiume. They're running for school board director. Remember, this year, it changes the entire course. There's 5 members will be elected May 19th. All I'm asking you to do is look at the candidates. Now, folks, I know Vinnie Zola a long time, and I know Bob Fiume a long time. I will not vote for Vinnie Zola just because he's a nice guy, and I will not vote for Bob Fiume because he's a nice guy. I'll vote for them if they have the qualifications. That's the important thing. You go to a doctor, you don't go to a doctor who's popular and who's a nice guy. You check out his credentials or her credentials before you go there. That's the problem we're having in the country today. In the state of Pennsylvania, in different counties, we're voting for popular people. We're not voting for people who have experience. Today, they're telling you what their experiences are. You decide. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, you can watch all of our programs on ssptv.com, including the show that you're watching right now. Some of you who are out of the area in the Hazleton Area School District who may not be on Service Electric Cablevision, please tell your friends to go to our website and watch this show. It's very important. My email, sam@ssptv.com. Folks, May 19th, very important election for school board. Today we have Vinnie, Zola, and Bob Fiume who are running for school board. And here they're on the show telling you why you should vote for them. Let's talk about the taxpayer, okay? Because when I get that school board tax, okay, and I see, and then I'm saying, what am I getting for my investment here, okay? So what are you going to do to protect me? Let me start with you, Bob. You're dealing with finances every day. What are you doing for the taxpayer?
Well, Sam, one thing I learned a lot from my background, from starting years ago when I was an elected official to doing budgets over past 10, 12 years, is you got to be cognizant of spending. And I think I've learned a lot there. And like I said before, earlier, we do need to provide our teachers with the tools necessary to provide this quality education for the students, because that's why we're here to educate students. But we also have to watch the scale there. We have to balance things out with taxpayer dollars. You can't keep going back to the taxpayers and hitting them with tax increases. I mean, people cannot make it on ends meet these days. We have senior citizen population, and just your working class person, it's hard to make ends meet, let alone keep raising their taxes. So we have to close the checkbook. We have to have accountability here. We have to close the spending on wasteful spending dollars. Building projects that have overruns, change orders that are not necessary, work on buildings that may not be necessary. Let's make sure that the teachers have what they need in the textbooks in these classes, and let's balance this in a way that taxpayer dollars are spent the right way, and so we don't have to go back and raise taxes. You can't keep going to the taxpayers to bail you out. You need to have more thought into how you're spending your money.
Vinnie, how do you feel about that tax?
I think we need to start looking and thinking outside the box. You know, we get accustomed to doing things the same way for years and years and years, and what I see is it's just it's spend, spend, spend. You know, you have a problem, throw money at it. You have a problem, throw money at it. And I think that has to stop. I think we need to now think outside the box. If we have an issue with a building, with vehicles, we need to look at the issue, and then we need to step back and say, let's not think, you know, we have millions of dollars behind us here. How would I do this if it were my own checkbook? How would I address this issue? And I think that's where accountability comes in. We need to make sure that if we do need repairs on a building, that we hold everyone accountable. If those repairs are being made and someone just did the work on the building, if it were my own home, I would go back to the contractor and I'd say, hey, wait a minute, why did this brick fall out, or why did this happen? And try to resolve it with them first, and then move on to repairing that building. I think taxpayers need to have a say. If our schools are overcrowded and we need to add an additional building or additional classrooms, I want to hear from the taxpayers. I want to hear from them, yes, let's do this because it's what's necessary, or no, you know, I can't afford to pay my taxes.
So what you do when you run for office, you set, like you're doing today, you're telling the public what you're going to be doing and what direction they're going to take. And if I have the faith in you, and then I say, okay, you know, I like what you said, like you're hiring somebody, and so then let Vinnie and Bob do their job, and then at your meetings you could get feedback. Let me ask you this, okay? This is a small town, you know, even though it's a big school, over 10,000 students, it's a small town. And you have people talking, you know, and Zola's running, the Fiume's running, blah, 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 blah. And I want you to, because you're a truthful guy, the both of you are, I know you a long time, okay? Do you have any personal agendas here, Vinnie, that come in, you know, are you carrying any personal agendas?
Absolutely not. You know, and I said that right from the beginning. When I thought about running 2 years ago, I thought, you know, what can I do? What can I bring to the table? How can I make things better? I have no personal agenda other than making this district a better place for our students to go to school in.
It's an open fit.
Absolutely.
How about you, Bob?
No, Sam, I have no personal agenda. I just want to work hard and try to do the best job possible, work with the school board, who's ever on the board with me. We've got some good people there, and we can work to make this better. And sometimes you just need fresh faces to do that. I believe, like with my background in transit also, I could be an asset and a resource for our bus contractors. Maybe they need some help in some way. They can come to me anytime.
You got the spirits. A tax base is so very important. Image is so very important. Businesses come into this town, okay? Maybe the husband comes in and he's the president of the company, but then he brings the wife in, and they have about 2 or 3 children. And the wife says, what about the city? What about the environment? What about the educational system? Now, this guy could come in and be bringing a multi-million-dollar company, but the wife says, their school system sucks. I'm not bringing our kids here. I'm not saying it does. But so it's so important that, see, if we bringing it, if the image is there, Vinnie, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, then we're building a tax base because we have that image. Sure, you'll agree to disagree. Do you agree with that?
I think so. I mean, I think if you look at our new STEM school, that's the type of education that higher learning students are going to thrive to achieve, to get there. Giving them the opportunity to move on to careers as doctors and lawyers and scientists and all. And that's important. So, but we also have to remember that there's students on all levels. I would love to see our career center. Sam, you worked there.
Right, I did.
It's a great facility.
Fabulous.
I would love to see that facility used for educating students that want to go into the trades.
Bingo.
And not as a dumping ground.
No.
Not just to put kids there because
right.
we don't know what to do with them.
Yep.
Let's throw them in a
Yep,
shop.
exactly. Yep.
The potential, when I went through the Career Center, I could tell you right now, I could name a dozen students that went through there that are millionaires today.
Yes.
Because of the education they got in that school.
And it was excellent. Bob, your thoughts about that?
I agree. Vinnie and I have had this discussion several times. As we said before, we need to build this educational system up so students can work to their potential, whatever the potential is, whether it's going to college, going to the STEM school in order to prepare yourself for college, or going to a career center and prepare yourself for trades, because everyone's different and everyone wants to do something different and can excel in their own realm.
You know what I'm seeing today is like when I was the chairman of the community college trustees, I'm seeing passion. I'm seeing a lot of passion from you, Vin, Zola, and you, Bob Fiume. I'm seeing passion. You don't need the money. Okay, you don't get any money. Okay, okay, that's number one. But the both of you have seen, in different, you're bringing a lot to the table, okay? And here again, because I like you, because there's no reason why I'm going to vote for you, or vote for you because of what you stand for. When you're looking at getting input, okay, do you have any ideas of what you want to do, Vinnie, in getting input?
Well, first of all, I think, I gave this a lot of thought, because you're saying that in, like before meetings, I would like to be there maybe an hour or two early. If someone wants to come in, sit down with me and talk before a board meeting, a one-on-one, they can do that. I'll have my website will remain open after the election. If someone wants to shoot me some information and say, hey, Vin, look into this, or, I really don't want to be involved, but can you give me an answer for this?
You're going to be inundated because people will be telling you that, okay? And that's terrific, okay?
Yeah.
Bob, what's your feeling about that?
I feel the same. I'm open to any suggestions, whether it be from teachers, administrators, the public, the taxpayers. I mean, they should be able to have a voice in it, and I would take opinions from everyone and their recommendations and sort them out and listen to them.
With age, the wine gets better with age. And I've seen you, Bob, when you were, in Hazleton, and you certainly in the school district, when you were under some stress, okay, but the way you handled that stress, it was professional from A to Z. Vinnie, there was sometimes you went through some really, criticized for a couple things.
Yes.
I can remember that. And
Yeah.
Bob, the same thing. But I never heard you screaming and yelling, and I never heard you, Bob. What you did is you looked at it and you said, okay, let's address it. And you let that person say whatever they said, but then you came back with logic. I think that's important, don't you, Vin?
Common sense.
Boy, I'll tell you.
I mean,
are you kidding me? So many people need a degree in that.
common sense.
Yeah. And Bob, you know, do you feel the same way?
I do,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, you have this stress factor, and here's the sad thing. As a school director, you'll hear things that you know internally, but how do you then get that to the public, okay? Shows like this in the press, you know, coming on, we try to bring visibility. In closing, Vinnie and Bob, tell the viewers why they should vote for Vin Zola and Bob Fiume.
Because of the passion that you noticed, that's the passion that I will definitely bring into the office. My experience, my background, and my willingness to do what's right for the taxpayers, the students, and the parents.
You come from a strong foundation.
Yes.
You come from you know, people that always participated in the community, and you want to share that.
Absolutely.
Bob, tell us why we should vote for you.
Well, Sam, also I'm a lifelong resident of the Hazleton area, and I think my background, my experience, my education helped make me an asset on this board. And what I want to do is go in there and make a difference. I would work with everyone. I have no problem with working with any members on the school board, and just to do what's right and to be progressive and get the job done that we need to and improve this educational system.
Well, I'm thinking here from the safety to security, the communications, accountability, and working with the teachers. I think it's a grand slam here. Okay. First of all, I applaud anyone who's running for office today. I wish the both of you well. It's encouraging to see exciting people, passionate people, but people who also have experience, and I wish the both of you well. We're always open here at SSP TV to do whatever we can. Folks, Bob Fiume and Vinnie Zola running for school board directors, you decide, okay? Remember, look at their qualifications. Now, if you like them, it's a bonus. But sometimes you have to vote for people you may not like, but they have the qualifications. I know a couple doctors that I don't particularly like, but if I needed them, I would go to them. So don't forget, May 19th is extremely important, folks. Extremely important. It affects your lives. We'll see you next time.